let me tell you something that might hurt before it heals. The way he's acting right now isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of what he's trying to avoid feeling. When someone acts like you meant nothing, it's often because deep down you meant everything. And that truth is too much for them to face. When you truly matter to someone, it shakes them in ways they often don't expect. It forces them to confront feelings they may not be ready to handle. Real love, real connection comes with depth. And with that comes responsibility. Not everyone is equipped for that kind of emotional honesty. So instead of embracing what you offered, they retreat. They act indifferent, they act cold, and they try to convince you and themselves that it was nothing. But that reaction says more about their fear than your value. Sometimes people run not because they didn't care, but because they cared too much and didn't know what to do with it. They're afraid of the mirror you held up to them, afraid of the growth you made them consider. So, to protect their ego, they act like you were just another chapter. The truth is, when someone pretends you meant nothing, it's often because admitting otherwise would force them to face what they lost. It's not strength, it's self-protection. And while it might look like confidence on the outside, deep down it's just avoidance and regret in disguise. Has been. It's important to remember that your worth isn't tied to how someone treats you after it ends. You can mean the world to someone and still watch them walk away. But that doesn't make you any less. His silence, his absence, his attempts to erase what you shared, none of that defines the truth of what happened between you two. You were real. You showed up with love, honesty, and heart. If he couldn't meet you there, that's on him, not you. The pain you feel now is proof of your capacity to love deeply. And that is something to be proud of, not ashamed of. You don't need his closure. You don't need his validation. What you need is to see that walking away from someone who couldn't honor your value is the strongest thing you could do. Let him pretend. Let him perform. Because the right person won't need to act like you're nothing to protect themselves. They'll know exactly what they have in you, and they'll show you every single day. Until then, keep walking with your head high. He didn't diminish you. He revealed himself. And now you're free. His silence might look like peace, like he's completely unbothered, like he's moved on without even blinking. But silence doesn't always mean calm. Sometimes it's just avoidance dressed up as strength. When someone has truly felt something powerful and then chooses to act indifferent, it's rarely because they're over it. It's often because they're overwhelmed by it. Staying quiet, staying distant, gives them a sense of control when everything inside them feels unsettled. Acting like you meant nothing becomes their shield. It's the easiest way to avoid sitting with regret, guilt, or pain. Pretending there was no death between you two helps them run from the truth that they lost something real once the apology has been. Acknowledging how much you meant would mean confronting their own actions and how they may have failed to show up. And not everyone has the courage to do that. Some people find comfort in denial because it keeps them feeling the full weight of what they walked away from. It might be confusing to watch someone detach so quickly, especially after all the moments and memories you shared. But you have to understand that his behavior isn't a reflection of how little you meant. It's a reflection of how deeply it affected him. He's trying to convince both of you that it didn't matter, because admitting that it did would bring emotions he's not ready to deal with. This isn't maturity. It's emotional self-protection. And while it may look like he's strong and unaffected, It's more likely he's just disconnected and afraid. You deserve to be with someone who doesn't need to hide behind silence or cold behavior to feel powerful. Someone who can face hard emotions and still communicate with honesty and respect. So don't mistake his quiet exit as closure. Don't wait for him to explain or admit anything. Let his avoidance be the answer, and let your healing begin from knowing you were real, you were present, and you were never the one running away. There are moments in life when you teach something valuable without even trying. In love, it often happens naturally. Maybe you showed him what patience looks like by staying through his mood swings or waiting for him to open up. Maybe you offered compassion when he was too proud to ask for it. Or maybe you simply loved him in a way that felt safe, deep, and unconditional. Something he had never truly experienced before. These things don't go unnoticed, even if he never says a word about them. Just because he's not acknowledging it doesn't mean it didn't shape him. People don't always have the emotional maturity to express what they've learned or how deeply someone affected them. But somewhere within him, your love planted a seed. Maybe he'll realize it years from now, in the middle of an unrelated conversation, or while missing something small about you that he once took for granted. Growth doesn't always come with gratitude, especially from someone who wasn't ready for what you gave. It's a painful truth that some people can benefit from the best parts of you without ever thanking you for it. He may carry those lessons into his next relationship or into his own healing journey, and you may never know. But that doesn't make what you gave any less meaningful. You were not a stepping stone. You were a teacher, even if he doesn't understand that yet. And sometimes the most powerful impact we have on someone's life is the one they're too ashamed or too unaware to admit. So don't let his silence make you question your impact. The truth is, you gave him a version of love that may change how he sees relationships forever. And even if he never comes back to say thank you, life has a way of reflecting back what we give. Your patience, your compassion, your love, they weren't wasted. They were part of a bigger story, one where you played the role of someone unforgettable, even if he pretends otherwise. Your value has never depended on whether someone else sees it. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that if someone walks away or treats you like you didn't matter, it must mean you weren't enough. But that isn't true. Some people simply don't know how to recognize something good when it's right in front of them. They mistake kindness for weakness, consistency for boredom, and love for something that should be earned rather than received. Their blindness isn't your burden to carry. You showed up with your heart open, ready to build something real. If he failed to appreciate that, it doesn't lessen what you gave, once the apology has been. It doesn't make the memories less meaningful or your intentions less pure. People can only meet you at the level of awareness and healing they're at. If he couldn't value you, it's because he couldn't even see his own worth clearly. How could he fully see yours? The issue isn't your effort, it's his inability to receive it. When someone doesn't recognize your value, it's not a call to prove yourself more. It's a signal to pull your energy back and remember who you are. Your worth is not a question mark waiting to be answered by someone else's affection or attention. It's a constant, whether loved or left, seen or ignored, appreciated or forgotten, your value remains intact. The way someone treats you is a reflection of them, not of your potential not of your beauty, and definitely not of your soul. So don't let his lack of recognition become the story you tell yourself. You are not invisible. You are not forgettable once the apology has been. And just because he didn't stay doesn't mean you weren't worth staying for. Some people have to lose you to understand what they had. But by then, you'll be somewhere far beyond his reach. Not because you weren't enough, but because you finally realized you always were. It can be incredibly confusing to watch someone act like they're perfectly fine after everything you shared. He might look like he's thriving, going out, posting on social media, smiling like nothing ever touched him. But appearances can be misleading. Just because someone seems okay doesn't mean they are. Often, the ones who bury their emotions the deepest are the ones who feel them the strongest. They just don't know how to process them in a healthy way. This kind of behavior isn't strength. It's emotional self-preservation. It's a defense mechanism. By pretending he's unaffected, he avoids confronting the pain of what's been lost. He doesn't have to face the guilt of what he didn't give or the regret of what he let go. It might seem like he's moved on quickly, but rushing forward without reflection is often a sign of someone running from something, not moving through it with peace. When someone suppresses their feelings instead of dealing with them, those emotions don't just disappear. They build up quietly, showing up later as frustration, sadness, or even in failed future relationships. You don't need to be around to see it, but know that unresolved emotions always find a way to surface. What looks like indifference now may eventually become regret, but by then, you'll have already done the work to heal and grow. So don't let his so-called strength fool you. True strength is facing your emotions, learning from them, and becoming better because of them. That's the kind of strength you're building now, even if it hurts. You're not avoiding the truth. You're living through it, the apology has been. And that's something he might not understand until much later. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll already be somewhere he can't reach. Emotionally grounded, wiser, and far more free. You are not responsible for someone else's emotional maturity, no matter how much you cared. It's easy to think if you had just said the right thing, waited longer, or loved harder, maybe he would have grown into the kind of person you needed. But emotional growth isn't something you can force on anyone, has been. It's something they have to choose for themselves. And if he didn't choose to grow while he had you, that's not a reflection of your failure. That's a reflection of where he is in his own life and how far he still has to go. You showed up with honesty and real intention. You didn't play games. You didn't hold back. You offered him a genuine connection, the kind that many people spend years searching for. That's rare and it's valuable. If he couldn't meet you at that level, it's not because you expected too much. It's because he was unwilling or unable to rise. Apology has been. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And if he hasn't done that work, he won't have the capacity to fully receive what you gave. Has been. It's important to understand the difference between helping someone grow and carrying their emotional weight. Been. You may have believed in his potential, seen the good in him, and tried to support him through his struggles. But there's a fine line between love and self-sacrifice, and when you're constantly the one adjusting, explaining, or excusing, it becomes unhealthy. You're not here to fix someone. You're here to love. To be loved in return, apology has been, and to be met with mutual effort and emotional presence. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the questions about what you could have done differently. If someone refuses to grow, that's not your burden to bear. It's painful to walk away from someone you believed in, but choosing yourself doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. You did your part. You gave love that was honest and full. And now it's time to release the need to carry what was never yours to hold. His coldness can feel like a slap in the face once the apology has been, especially when you one who gave your heart so openly. It has been. It's natural to question everything when someone suddenly acts like none of it mattered. But just he's pretending now doesn't mean it was all pretend then. The laughs, the late night talks, the way he looked at you when he thought you weren't watching. Those things were real. People don't fake connection that effortlessly, even if they later act like it meant nothing. When someone detaches like that, it's not because they're strong or unaffected. It's because they're avoiding something inside themselves. Detachment is a way to escape discomfort. By acting cold, he's trying to rewrite the story to protect himself. But the truth doesn't disappear just because someone refuses to face it. It stays in the memories, in the energy that lingers, in the way you still feel what was shared. And you can trust that. Your warmth, your love, and your presence were not erased by his behavior. They existed. They mattered. And they helped shape the connection between you two. As even if he doesn't have the strength to admit it now, has been. Just because he can't honor the past doesn't mean you have to devalue it, too. Sometimes people act indifferent because feeling deeply would mean acknowledging what they lost, and not everyone is brave enough to do that. So don't let his indifference make you feel invisible. Your kindness is still your strength. Your love is still valid, and your ability to care deeply is something to be proud of, not ashamed of. Let him stay distant if that's what he needs. But you don't have to follow him into that emotional emptiness. You're allowed to remember the truth, to honor your part in it, and to move forward knowing you never faked a single moment. Feeling this loss so deeply may seem like a weakness right now, but it's actually one of your greatest strengths. It means you were all in. It means you allowed yourself to be vulnerable, to give your heart without conditions, to care without holding back. That kind of emotional courage is rare. Most people guard themselves, stay halfway in, and never really open up. But you didn't. You chose connection over comfort, love over fear. And even though it hurts now, that choice speaks volumes about your strength. There's a temptation, after being hurt, to shut everything off. To tell yourself you'll never care that much again. 1G has been to decide it's safer to stay detached, guarded, even a little cold. But becoming numb to protect yourself only builds walls between you and the love you still deserve, has been. The goal isn't to stop feeling. It's to feel with wisdom. Your emotions are proof of your depth, not a reason to disconnect from who you are. You have a beautiful heart, has been. A heart that aches only because it loved with honesty and purity. Let this experience remind you of the value of that heart. not to punish yourself for offering it, but to promise yourself that next time you'll give it to someone who knows how to hold it with care. Don't let someone's inability to love you properly change how you see yourself. Your capacity to love is not the problem. It's your superpower. So, yes, feel the pain, let it move through you, but don't let it harden you. Let it teach you. Let it shape your boundaries, refine your standards, and guide your healing. But don't let it erase your softness. That softness is where your strength lies. And one day, someone will show up who isn't afraid of how deeply you feel, who sees it as a privilege, not a problem. Until then, keep honoring that beautiful heart of yours. It's still whole, still worthy, and still full of love. You're not waiting for closure from him, even if a part of you still hopes he'll say something, explain himself, or offer an apology. But the truth is, closure doesn't come in a neatly wrapped message or a final conversation. It rarely comes from the person who hurt you, because they often don't have the emotional clarity or courage to give it. Has closure is something you create within yourself when you finally decide to stop chasing answers from someone who was never honest to begin with. It starts when you realize that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people come in as lessons, not as forever. And that doesn't make your connection any less meaningful. It just means it had a different purpose. You shared something real, and that matters even if it didn't last. But holding on, waiting for someone to validate your pain or confirm your worth has been, only keeps you stuck in a story that has already ended. Peace begins the moment you stop needing that validation. Giving yourself closure means looking at what happened, not with bitterness, but with truth, has been. It means admitting where you gave too much, where they gave too little, and where things were never truly balanced. It means letting go of what could have been and accepting what was. You can't rewrite the past, but you can choose how it shapes you. And when you release the hope that he'll come back and make things right, you make space for your own healing to begin. Peace doesn't come all at once. It comes in small moments. It comes when you wake up and no longer reach for your phone to check if he texted. It comes when you no longer overthink what you said or what went wrong. It comes when you start focusing on yourself again, on your growth, your joy, your future. You're not waiting anymore. You're moving. You're healing. And that's the closure you've been needing all along. The right person will never leave you wondering if you mattered. They won't play games with your emotions or make you feel like you have to prove your worth. Instead, they'll make it clear through their actions, their consistency, and their presence that you are valued. You won't have to decode mixed signals or chase their attention, because their love will feel safe, calm, and honest. It won't confuse you. It will reassure you every step of the way. When someone truly sees your worth, they show up. Not just in the beginning, not just when it's easy, but through the tough moments too. Apology has been. They won't disappear when emotions get intense or when life becomes inconvenient. Apology has been. They'll choose communication over silence and effort over avoidance. Apology has been. They'll understand that love isn't just about how you feel in the highs, but how you treat someone in the lows. And when you have that kind of love, it doesn't leave you second. guessing your place in someone's life. Until that person comes, let this chapter be the one that teaches you what you deserve. Apology has been. Let it show you what not to settle for and remind you that your love is a gift, not a test. Use the pain as a compass to guide you toward better boundaries, deeper self-respect, and higher standards. The heartbreak wasn't your ending. It was your awakening. Every tear, every doubt, every quiet night questioning yourself was part of your growth into someone who refuses to accept anything less than clarity and care. You were always the prize, even when he couldn't see it, even when he walked away. That truth didn't change, has been. It's time you believe it too, not just with your words, but with your choices, your self-talk. Apology has been, and the people you allow into your life moving forward. The right person won't make you earn their love. They'll match your energy, honor your heart, and leave no room for doubt. Apology has been. Until that day, keep growing, keep healing, and never forget what you're truly worth.